we will just jump right on into this. So if I click on the right screen. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ben Markham. Before becoming a photographer, I worked in the professional theater for 20 years as a sound designer engineer, which actually does play into where I landed in my photography life. My early midlife crisis was I left the theater world and I decided I was going to pick up a camera. I had no idea how to run a business and not really all that much about photography. I took a photography class in high school back in 96, but that was really more about how to use a darkroom than it was to actually go and photograph people and any of that sort of jazz. So everything was really learning on the fly, which is kind of how I like it. So when I was starting, I had the misconception from watching things on social media and stuff of going, okay, to make money and to be successful at this, I've got to do everything. I'm going to have to do weddings and I have to photograph kids and I'm going to have to go do families out in the park and I'm going to do, and like none of that stuff sounded in any way interesting to me. And then there were a lot of actually what I assumed were very successful photographers in Louisville doing really beautiful work. And I come to find out, and so I could, oh, they're successful. That's kind of where I need to be aiming. I come to find out later, it was side project for most of them. And so trying to emulate them wasn't the right path either. I eventually landed on, it's like, I know headshots because of my life in the theater world. I'm going to go be a headshot photographer. But Louisville does not have a dedicated headshot photographer. I'm going to be that guy. So I niched down to that, and that's what I grew my business with. Over time, I expanded into the portrait and boudoir side of things as well. So headshot is still a very important part of my business. I'd say it's at least 50% of the business. And then the portrait and boudoir side does the rest of it. So I'm really, and in essence, I'm marketing two separate businesses. I did grow the studio to a six-figure studio, and we've been six figures a year for several years. And I've won multiple awards and accreditations and all that jazz. So that's why I feel like I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about here. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what a marketing plan is versus what a marketing strategy is and how those things play together. We're going to talk about how to identify your ideal clients. We're going to discuss key platforms, and then not only what the key platforms are, but then how key platforms and your ideal clients work together. And then we're going to go through an example of a really simple sort of marketing plan to kind of get your brain moving. And then at the end, we'll wrap this up with Q&A, and I will answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what the difference between a marketing plan and a marketing strategy is. So a marketing plan is actually the framework of your marketing universe. This is like the ways that you're going to reach out to your clients. And it's going to include things like who the ideal clients are, and then what your brand messaging is, right? So I think of this as a blueprint. So it's how you stay focused on your marketing goals and in that you stay effective and consistent rather than just going, okay, now I'm going to try this. Okay, I'll try this now, but I'll try this. It's your roadmap to your overall marketing plan. And then a marketing strategy is what methods are you using to do those things. So, whether that's your website, whether it's your email marketing or whatever, how all of these individual strategies play into your plan, right? So the first part of that is how to identify your ideal client or clients. So if you're in a case like me where you're marketing to multiple groups, right? The first thing that I think a lot of people screw up and they end up spending a lot of time is trying to market to everybody. Not everybody is your client. So as a very broad brushed example for this, as a headshot photographer, it would make no sense for me to go to a bridal showcase and set up a headshot booth. Those people aren't there to book headshots. So I would be wasting my marketing dollars and I'd be wasting my time, which, as we all know as solopreneurs, time is just the same thing as money. So it's really focusing on who your ideal people are. And the way that I like to think about this is I create avatars. It's thinking of it as a character of who your ideal clients are. And you can have multiple avatars for each thing that you do. So let me give you some examples and we'll talk through some of these. So this is, I would typically break this into multiple avatars, like under a headshot thing. I'm going to do some broad brushstrokes to give us some ideas though. So the average age range for my ideal headshot client is between 35 and 65 years old. That's not to say that I won't work with someone younger than 35 or that I won't work with someone older than 65. But as I'm looking to get return on investment on my time and money in my marketing life, I'm going to target that kind of specific age range, which is still a pretty decent age range. But those are where my people are coming from. I've got people who are really just getting their stride going on their careers and they're starting to grow. And I've got people who have been in their profession for a long time and are looking to maintain their marketing, their personal branding portfolio. They live and work in specific zip codes within my city for the most part. And why that's important is like I could very easily, if I was doing like Google ads or Meta ads or whatever, could go, I'm just going to go, I need a radius around my city where I'm marketing to people. That's not what I want to do because there's parts of the city where my ideal client aren't. So I'm going to focus on where my ideal clients are. And I've gone through and done it by zip code. There's a million different ways to do it on various marketing platforms and or where you're spending time and your play time and stuff, which I'll get into. My ideal headshot clients are typically in finance, law, they're executives, they're entrepreneurs, they're working in higher level sort of places. They're typically not somebody who works at a restaurant as a server, because a server who's just working as a server and enjoying that may not need a headshot. So it's really just kind of narrowing down who am I talking to and where are they, what do they do? For my headshot clients, my typical client and my ideal client is earning at least $65,000 per year. It's a pretty broad brushstroke. Again, that's not to say that I won't work with people who make less than $65,000 a year. I'm happy to. When I first started the business, I thought that a majority of my headshot clients were going to be actors because I was like, that's who needs headshots. Now I don't market to actors at all. I'll still work with them. I don't market to them. And the reason is they can't afford me most of the time. So I'm going to put my marketing dollars, and you're going to hear me say that a lot. My marketing dollars, my marketing time are going to go to the people who are most likely to book me. And then their interests, what do they do when they're not working? Where are they at? What are they doing? So for me, a lot of it includes fitness. They're into high-end cocktails. They're into restaurants and sports, etc. The reason that's important is that will also play into some of the things that I do in my off time. And we'll get into that in another slide. Let me break down another avatar for you. So my boudoir avatar, rough ideas. So typically, my boudoir clients are women. It's not that I won't work with men as boudoir clients. I absolutely will. There's a book sitting there on the table that a gentleman's coming to pick up today. So happy to work with men, but a majority of the people who book me for boudoir work are women. Age range is 30 to 55 on that. So you notice that age range has dropped a little bit from the professional headshot side of things. but that's the age range that I'm targeting. That's who's typically booking me. Really, it's more in the 40 to 55 range tend to be ideal. Again, living and working in specific areas of town and earning at least $45,000 a year. So you'll notice a drop in the income. The reason for that being is a headshot is a necessary evil. People don't necessarily want to get headshots. They get headshots because they have to get headshots. Nobody gets excited about stepping in front of the camera. So somebody who might not be able to afford me isn't going to save up to come to me for a headshot. They will go to somebody else who's less expensive, which is fine. With something like boudoir work, this is a specialty thing. This is a luxury thing. And people will save. I've had clients save up for 2 or 3 years before they were able to afford to book a session with me. I've had people be willing to put it on credit card and pay it off over time. So it's a luxury experience that they go, I'm probably only ever going to do this once in my life. I'm going to get what I want with it. So it changes that avatar. So this one actually, I would break this out into multiple avatars on this single order relationship. So the reason I would do it is 2 separate things. I get a lot of clients who are recently single, who may not have had the greatest breakup or may not have had the greatest relationship. And so they're coming because they want to celebrate themselves. They want to do something fun, reclaim who they are. So that's one avatar. It's one branch of people. And then you get the relationship side. So the book that's going home today, like that's a Christmas present. So people are like, I'm getting married. I want to get this for my significant other as a gift, a Christmas present, whatever. So those are 2 different ways to market to those people. I'm going to have a different message for the people in a couple versus somebody who's single. Upcoming milestones are another big one and that would fall into kind of a different avatar as well. But a lot of people going, it's my 40th birthday, so I wanted to celebrate that. I'm not going to look this way forever. We're going to photograph it now. My boudoir clients, I want confident people. So people who feel good in their skin, who are comfortable being in front of or will get comfortable being in front of the camera. And the interest again include, things like fitness, cocktails, restaurants, fashion, makeup. So those are the kind of things that my typical clients are going for. So as you're thinking about who your avatars are, really try to dig deep into what do they like? What do they do? And when you have clients in front of your case, especially if you have those clients that you really connect with, like ask them questions. Like, we are in a very kind of cool place where we get to connect with people. And actually, like some of the best art comes from connecting with our clients, which that's a whole other webinar. But ask them what their interests are. Get to know who your favorite clients are, who you enjoy working with the most. Get that data, market to those people, okay? So now we get into how do we actually connect with our clients? Because without connection, they're not booking people by from who they know, like, and trust, right? So the first thing, and this is the one that many photographers absolutely hate doing, you got to network. You got to be out there, and it's like face-to-face networking is so, so valuable. And when a lot of people think about networking, the first thing that jumps to mind is doing like one of the networking after work things, or coffee before work, or BNI, or any of those kind of things. And those things are fine, but I don't find them to be ideal. What I find those things tend to be is people trying to jam their business card into somebody else's hand as fast as possible. And there's no genuine relationships being built. And I actually just did a clean out of the studio for the top of the year, and I swear I threw away a stack of cards this big that people just jammed at me. I was like, I'm never going to use this. I don't even remember who you are. So my idea of what good networking is, I'll give you an example. There's a restaurant here in town that me and my family frequent. They've gotten to know us just because we're in there all the time. They've started inviting us to VIP events, so like wine tastings, special dinners, that sort of thing. So we go to these things, and now we're getting to know the other people who go to these events. We're sitting at the dinner table together, sharing food and wine, as it broke down in the avatar, and we just get to know each other, right? So, and eventually, sure, it comes up, hey, what do you do? What do you do? And we'll talk about what we do for a living. If, if it's appropriate at the table, if they go, oh, let me see your Instagram, sure. But that's my goal in those moments is not to sell. My goal in those moments is to make connections. I want to make friends because even if they're not going to book me, they may know people who are going to book me, right? So their friend posts on Facebook one day, oh, I need to get a new professional headshot. And they go, oh, I know this guy, because everybody likes to have the guy, right? Like you see on Facebook, somebody's like, I need a plumber, and everybody fills that out. You start to become that guy or girl. And it's not to say that they won't book you. They very well may, but it's a matter of building that trust. That's what networking really is. It's building relationships with people. So then that leads us to social media. Social media is a double-edged sword. What I see a lot of photographers do is they will post on social media and go, I'm marketing. I posted my images on social so people saw them, and because they saw them, they're going to love them and they're going to want to book me. And that is not at all the case. And maybe on down the road, but what happens is people are scrolling and they see your image and they go, that's nice. And they keep scrolling because it's a noisy, noisy place. You've got to do some really crazy stuff to cut through. The key to social media is to actually be social. It's that part of it that so many of us miss. So if you see somebody's posts out there that resonate with you, give them a follow, comment, like, do all those things that you hear about. And they might follow you back. They may not. I also recommend follow local businesses that fit. Like here in Louisville, there is a high-end lingerie shop, and we follow each other. Our avatars overlap, so there's symbiotic relationships there. And then we comment on each other's posts and we share each other's posts and we do those things. It's that's what social media as a business person, especially small businesses like what a majority of us are, that's how we're going to use it. We're not going to be able to be as cool as Wendy's and just go post schnark and get a bunch of stuff for it. I wish I could. That would be a lot more fun. So, and the other thing on social, and this is one thing that so many people hate, myself included, is the game has changed. Like this short form video thing, it's big. And the reason that it's big is because people need to get to know you. It's that whole know, like, and trust thing, right? So I started making short form videos 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And what you see on my TikToks, on my reels and whatever, what you see is what you get. Like that's me in real life. So now what happens is because people get to know me via that platform, they feel like they know me. So my wife and I started to pick up golf recently. It's totally my wife's fault. I would have never picked up golf clubs. And for the record, we are garbage. But we went to a driving range. We go to a driving range a lot just to try to practice. And I'm standing in line one day to check in. And somebody comes up to me and goes, aren't you Ben Markham? And I was like, yes. And so because of my work in my videos, he felt like he knew me. So he felt comfortable to come talk to me. We ended up following each other on social and we're building that relationship. So treat social media like it's social, like interact with people. It makes a big difference. And SEO. So SEO, it sounds like a no-brainer. It's like, oh, of course SEO. Why wouldn't you SEO? So where I see a lot of mistakes is photographers try to be cute with their SEO. And like their H1 tags end up being cutesy, schmootsy, whatever the hell. If you went to my headshot website, it's benmarkham.com. I'm not saying go, you're welcome to, but you don't need to. The H1, top of the page, first thing it says, Louisville headshot photographer. That is what people are going to be searching for. And it also immediately tells people what I do. So, and then any other heading tag going down through that page needs to be things that people are actually typing into search engines, right? So, but if you've ever watched somebody scroll your website, which I had a plugin on my site for a while where I could watch this, like they'll log onto your site and they'll literally just zing until they see what they want. And if they don't see it within 2 seconds, they're gone. It's really disheartening for the amount of work that we put into these things. So make sure your website is that reaching out to people who have no idea that you exist. They need what you do, but they have no idea that you exist. So make sure when they reach out, you can put something into their hand, right? And then the next thing is actually your website. So these two kind of play together, but your website needs to be clean and concise. They need to instantly be able to tell what you do. It can't be flowery because people aren't taking the time to read. So if you're going to put text on your page, and you should, make sure that it's actually giving them value, telling them how you're going to solve their problems. Make sure that it is very, very clear instantly what you do. So I look at photographers' websites. I actually just did this with somebody the other day. They sent me their website and I respond to them like, oh, you do sports photography. And they go, well, I do sports and I do biggly boo, biggly boo, biggly boo. And I went, I didn't see that on your front page. I saw all sports. So I assume you do sports. What do you do? So, it's actually why I just separated out my websites. I now have a headshot website and a boudoir website. The reason for that is I was confusing people. People couldn't go to my website and go, he does this. Like social media and our phones have made it where people don't want to have to figure out what you do. If they can't tell instantly, they're done. So make sure your website does that for them. Okay, so let's look at an example marketing plan. And this is going to be broad brushstrokes because everybody's business is going to be different. Okay. So the first thing is who's going to be buying from us, right? Like who's buying our services? What problems do we solve for them? Okay. And I see things, especially on portrait photographers' websites. I'm guilty. I've done it. Meaning like, preserving, timeless blah, blah. It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing at all, right? It's like, so, I make boudoir art. So I make art. But if you want art, you want to feel like art, I make art. That's what I do. With my headshot work, it's like I take headshots people actually like. People don't like their headshots. People hate their headshots. So it's like, okay, you hate it. You need one. I'll make one you like. Be clear, be concise, tell them what problems that you're going to solve for them. And then you need to make sure that your marketing goals are defined. Okay, so like what actually do you want to do? Just coming in and going, I want more customers. Of course you want more customers. We all want more customers. How many do you want? Do you want 10 a month? Do you want 20 a month? Like be very concise about what it is that you want to do because that's how you're going to measure, right? Because if you don't have that thing to measure against, you can't tell if you're winning and what you need to change. Maybe you just want to build visibility in your area. Some people may not want to deal with clients. They just want to be like, hey, I'm here. I just like doing this. I hope you like my stuff. That's valid if that's your jam. Maybe you want to grow your email list and you want to do like heavy email marketing. So be really dialed into what your marketing goals are. And then identify what strategies you're going to use. If you're going to do networking, and you should, how are you going to do it? How often are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? Right? Get those things specific. It's so that you know where you're going. If you're going to use social media, what platforms are you using? Where are your actual clients on social media? Okay. So like my boudoir clients may be more on Instagram. My headshot clients may be more on LinkedIn. So where are they? What messaging am I putting out to them? And only use platforms that you're actually going to use, right? Like I actually don't lean into LinkedIn that much. I find it tedious. I could do better. My buddy Trevor kills it on LinkedIn. Absolutely. And like, so, but he works that. I don't work that. I work Instagram, I work TikTok. So dial into what you're going to use, get familiar with what the language, what the vibe, and all of that is on those platforms because it makes a pretty big difference. Um, are you going to be SEOing? You should. Right? If you have a website, SEO it pretty heavily. I could do a whole other workshop on SEO. It's a big rabbit hole. Are you going to do email marketing? If you're going to do email marketing, which platforms are you going to use? So all that to say is like, what strategies are you going to focus on word of mouth? In trying new stuff, I did one recently this past year. My dog, who there's there's my there's my dog. Uh, he comes to the studio with me a lot, and we're surrounded by ideal client neighborhoods here in the studio. So it struck me as like, well, I've got to be out walking him anyway. So why don't I print up postcards and stuff mailboxes? And it's like the newspaper mailboxes. You can't put them in the actual USPS post office. You get in trouble for that. But I was like, so for 250 bucks, I have to walk the dog anyway. Let's go walk the neighborhoods. I'll throw postcards in the mailbox. Just let people know I'm here. What the hell? What's it cost me? So I booked a couple sessions off of it, more than enough to cover the cost of the postcards. And now there's brand awareness. When people drive past the shopping center where I am, some of them will go, oh, that guy. Others, because for those of you that don't know, I wear a kilt. So so I because I walk the dog in the neighborhood and people see me, I was able to put that bit of personal bit. You may have seen me, big kilty guy walking a husky. They tie those things together. Now they see me walking, they go, aha, it's Ben. So brand recognition. So don't be afraid to try things. And then craft your brand messaging. Like, what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? What's the tone? What makes you unique? Why is what you do important, right? And again, don't be flowery about this. You actually need to go, what are my clients' problems and how am I going to fix them? And I'll recommend a few books, and I'll send you links to these. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller and Marketing Made Simple by Donald Miller. I'll send an email to both of those links. If you're having problems coming up with your brand messaging and how to present that to your ideal clients, those books will help a lot, at least to get you started. Everybody at first will start with his framework exactly, and then eventually you tweak it, make it go to yours. And track your results, okay? So it's a big thing that people forget to do is actually track like where things are coming from. Like in places like 17 Hats, which is the CRM that I use now on contact forms, I have the ability to go in there and ask people how they found me, because knowing where people are actually finding me and coming to me from is valuable. Because what you need to be able to do is, if something's really working, you got to double down on that. Go, that worked, that makes me money, we're doing more of that. And if something isn't working, you either need to tweak it or let it go. Because again, your marketing time and your dollars are too valuable just to waste to keep throwing after things. Okay, so what's next? What do we do? So big thing is, don't just throw spaghetti at the wall, right? You got to look at this as like, play the long game. Like marketing your business, it's nonstop. Everything that we do, especially if we are the business, we solopreneurs, everything that we do is brand. Everything that we do is marketing. So when we're out and about, we are representing it, and also you got to remember, this is a long, long game. Just because you try something today doesn't mean it's going to make you $1 tomorrow, but it might next month. It might 2 years from now. So it's a marathon, man. Like it never stops. You can join my Facebook group. I'll send you a link to this. It's completely free. It's not been very active. The goal is to change that. So you can feel free to go in there, ask questions, post work. I want to do what we can do to build community and to help folks be successful. You can schedule a one-on-one mentoring session with me. I'm not just trying to sell stuff to you like every other webinar on the planet, but I do have it as an option. I'll send you a link. I've talked with people on these. I've done website reviews. I've taught people through lighting, whatever. You're welcome to do that with me. This is huge. Celebrate victories, because you're going to go through this. And there's going to be days that you're going to feel like you're on top of the world, and there's going to be days where you feel like just nothing goes your way. So when you have those victories, celebrate them. Even if that's just, yeah, I'm going to go get a coffee or whatever. Celebrate those victories, get that dopamine hit and feel good. One thing I do encourage you to do with all of this as you're doing your plan is write it down. Don't just put it in your head and go, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Write out your plan. I have a whiteboard next to my desk that has all mine, so that as soon as I walk into the office in the morning, I see the whiteboard and I go, okay, there's what we're doing. That's the path. So I babbled forever and a day now. So what questions do you guys have for me? If anybody's talking, I don't hear it.
Ben, if you don't mind, one question I have is about email marketing. Tell me more about how you do that.
So first thing first is you got to get people on your email list. And it's a million ways to do it. For example, you signed up for my email list. Thank you very much. So, give them a reason to sign up for your list. Like I did one for a while for headshot clients that was, how to prepare for it. And you download this PDF and blah, blah, blah. You can do that. The big thing is people have to sign up for your email list. Like if you just went and put people on your list and they didn't actually sign up for it, then you can get banned and all sorts of other things. It's a good way just to stay. What I love about email marketing, my list is my list is my list. Nobody can take my list away from me. So as of, 2 weeks from now, TikTok could be going away. I have a really big audience on TikTok. It's not mine. So if it goes away, those 59,000 people are no longer mine. So ideally, I want people on my list. So think about it that way. And it's just, I don't do like weekly emails or anything like that because it gets annoying. Like I get too many emails as it is. So I'll do like a monthly sort of thing. Here's what's going on in the studio. I don't really run specials, so I don't do anything about that. But I may go, here's a few articles that I wrote this month. If you want to check those out, I have a few openings left. But, or if there's something holiday specific, I hope everybody has a great holiday season. It's just a way to stay in front of people. They say that before somebody will actually buy from you, they need 7 to 8 touch points. So like your social media could be a touch point, and an email from you could be a touch point, whatever. So it's just another way to directly reach out to people. My massage therapist actually does it beautifully. Once a month, she sends out an email. Here's what's going on. Here's any specials we're running. And she does a contest on hers every month. So it's like if you respond to this email with, like this month it was with Happy New Year, make sure you put your full name. I'm going to draw one person out of everybody that responds to get $50 out of massage. So she's keeping her audience engaged. So it's a million ways to use an email list. Yeah, hopefully that answered that a little bit. What else, y'all?
Yeah. Do you find you have repeat customers? And if so, is there an engine or motivation? For example, like I write thank you notes, and people have noted that to me and say, "Oh, could you do more for me or my friend or family?"
Do you do handwritten thank you notes?
I do.
That's awesome. I keep going, I need to do that. And I keep not doing it because my handwriting is garbage. So I love that you do that. and now you've inspired me to do it. As for repeat clients, headshot client wise, yes, I get repeat clients. Typically, it's like 3 to 4 years before I get a headshot client. Oh, I left that thing on. Oh, lame. Um, it'll be 3 or 4 years before I get them back. I do send reminder emails. Like when I close out somebody's file in 17 hats, I will add a reminder. I have to go manually do it, but I add a reminder to my calendar like 2 years out to send a, hey, it's time to update your headshot. So it's a touch point. My favorite repeat clients I've been marketing a lot to and getting big businesses like big law firms and stuff like that. So like I'll go to their location and do everybody's headshot. And then I set it up with them where as they get new hires in, they can just book a session in the studio. They come in, we bang it out. And so that sort of repeat business is great. With the portrait and boudoir work, I don't see the repeat business at this point. And I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. Because I know there are some people who do get that repeat business with it, but I don't think it's going to be as repeaty as something like a headshot or something like that. But the thank you notes, I love. It's such a good personal touch, and because so few people do it, everybody loves opening the mailbox and actually getting a piece of mail. So like that personal touch, that's good stuff. Well done.
I was going to say, this is Eric. I was just going to say that not only thank you notes, but sometimes if you know a client, past or current client who's got something going on, just sending a quick note saying, hey, congratulations, so excited for you, whatever, again, in the mail, that always helps. Or if I can't, then a quick text or comment.
Absolutely.
I have a quick question. So, everybody's trying to figure out their market, and pricing is always an issue, and that's part of marketing. I know you're high end. It sounds like not only for your portraits. I mean, your work is freaking gorgeous. But as far as headshots are concerned, what's the market like in Louisville, and where do you fit into it? And may I ask you how much you charge for headshots? I don't remember if that's on your website or not.
It is on the website, so I'm happy
okay.
to share. And I don't hide stuff. So headshot session with me right now. It's the session fee. And I'll explain why I do this in a second. Session fee is $250 plus sales tax. And then images start at $150 for just a digital. And I only do digitals only just for headshots. But they're $150 a piece plus Kentucky sales tax. On average, on a headshot session sale, I'm doing $2,500. So like yesterday, gentleman that I worked with is like, I will take 20. And I was like, I'm going to get tired of looking at your face, but okay.
For headshots?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. In Louisville, I'm pretty much, as I understand it, I've not looked at everybody else's pricing in forever because I don't care that much. But I think I'm pretty much top of the mark price wise for headshots only. And it plays to my favor, actually. And the reason I say that is like, so pricing psychology is a thing. I'm going to do a whole other workshop on pricing, by the way.
Nice.
Pricing psychology is a thing. And people value expensive things. So example that I use, if you do the workshop, you'll hear this. I am guilty of doing this. I've been at the grocery store, baking aisle. I need to buy a bag of sugar. So I looked at the sugar, and there is store brand, white bag, black writing, sugar, and it's $1.50. And then next to it, there's like the Domino, and it's got like all the different colors and blah, 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 and it's like $3.75. And I have that moment, and I pull those numbers strictly out of the air. And I have that moment of going, that one's more expensive. It must be better. And it's cane sugar. It's the exact same thing. So pricing psychology is the thing. If something costs more, people value it more. Now, that said, you also have to give the service to back that up. If I was charging the prices that I charge and I was giving crap service and product, I wouldn't be able to do that very long. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. So, and then there's also an argument about whether to post prices on your website or not. That seems to be a raging argument online with a lot of photographers.
it's a raging argument,
It's
experiment.
kind of funny, but
Yeah, I mean, it's like forever I didn't do it. But then like on the headshot site, because I've got the online booker through 17 hats on there, it's like because the way my headshot clients aren't ones that are going, oh, I'm going to upgrade to a personal branding session and do all that, which that's a whole thing. That's not my clients. My clients want to get in, get this shit done, and get out. So I want to make booking for them as easy as possible. Like, I don't need to do a discovery call for you if we're doing head and shoulders. I know more about doing head and shoulders than other people. I got you. We're under control. So now if I was doing a whole personal branding session, whatever, maybe, but that's not what my clients want. So I want to make it easy for them to book. Here's the price. Here's how you book it. If you want to talk to me, here's a contact form. If you don't want to talk to me, use that scheduler. I'll see you in the studio. Done. With the portrait and the boudoir work, I have started listing at least my starting prices on the website, which a portrait session with me, it's $300 for the session. Prints start at $235 and go up from there. The reason I started putting those prices out there is because my time is valuable. I got really tired of doing consultation because I do consultations for free. I got tired of doing consultations for people who their first question was, how much does it cost? Because if your first question is what's it cost, you're not my client. And I don't mean that to be shitty. It's just kind of the nature of it. If you're shopping me on cost, I'm not your guy. If you're shopping me on art, I'm your guy. So I just want to eliminate that because if I have to book a consultation with somebody, that's time I couldn't be working with somebody else in the studio. So if you're price sensitive, here's the price. If that doesn't work for you, I hope you find another photographer whose work you love. You know,
that's great. Thank you. I like that philosophy.
What else, y'all? Wow, quiet.
You just
guess
covered
I'm
it
here.
all.
Well-
That's fine.
This is really good.
Hi, Ben. I'll throw one in there. Oh, sorry, Barry.
No, go ahead. I'll go after.
Ben, how are you managing right now? Because I keep getting dinged. I'm sorry, my laptop was dying on me. How are you managing on social media, specifically Instagram or anything meta related? I'm getting, every single post, even though I'm covered, everything's covered. Nothing's showing from my boudoir work. Everything is like as PG-13 as you can be. How are you handling that? How are you managing it? Do you have like any secret sauce there? Because that's like, it's hurting my reach, and I see it in some recent reels that they're not getting the reach that they should be getting.
Do you check your account status to see where you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do still occasionally get dinged on social. And we're rolling the dice when it happens. For me, I ended up setting up a second boudoir account because it's like my main account needs to go out and do some work. So I can't keep putting it in jail. So I set up the boudoir account. I'm trying to grow it now. Growing an account is a pain in the ass, as we all know, but it is what it is. So I will reference that account, whenever I can. I find other ways to get my work seen. So like if you notice in like some of my reels and stuff, I'm walking around the space and you'll see stuff in the background.
Mhm.
That's all. None of that is accidental. If I'm wandering around and there's happens to be a boudoir piece behind me, that's totally on purpose. So just finding different ways to drive people to it. It's annoying. And it's a constant fight. The rules aren't the same for everybody, and we play the game as best we can. I know that doesn't help a lot. I've had some success in getting images into my reels, and not getting flagged. So, but it depends on how much you're showing as well, because I have been flagged as well. But a lot of it with the boudoir work and how I've been thinking about it is going, I need to get enough curiosity by what I'm sharing on something that's passable by meta standards to make them want to go look at other stuff. So, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Social media is a pain. What else, y'all?
And when you ask for a 50% um, deposit, how do you send an invoice, or do you have a engine that allows a client to do that when they schedule?
Like with my headshot stuff? Yeah. So if somebody books online, I've got a workflow set up that as soon as they pick their date and their time, actually, it's all actually just built into the booker. It's been a while since I built that one. So as soon as they book, they have to put their credit card number in right then and there to book the session. And then if they book me in a different way, then yeah, I send an invoice via 17 Hats, and which is connected to my Square account. So, and nothing is confirmed until I get paid. Um, and I've had people lose sessions from refusing to put their deposit down. Like, I'll book somebody on top of you. I don't care. So, but yeah, do you use a CRM?
I was trying Sprout Studio, and I found it was inadequate.
Okay.
And surveying now. Now take a look at 17 Hats.
I'll put a link to that in the email that I'm going to send out after this too. Yes, it's an affiliate link. If any of you book from it, I get like an Amazon gift card in 3 months or something, but it'll save you. I think it's last I checked, it was like 50% on the year. So I'll send you the link if you use it. If you don't, whatever. And like any CRM, when you first set it up is a pain in the ass, just to get it. But once you get it moving and moving the way you like, 17 Hats works really well. I've been with them from the beginning. So my
The
wife's
17
company
hats
uses
do
it.
text. Oh, sorry. The
Oh, go
17
ahead.
hats do texting.
Not yet.
Okay.
There's a
That's hard to
few
find.
things I wish they would really do that they are falling down on. Like being able to do like mass emails. I wish they would let us do. Text stuff would be very useful.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
but
even just appointment
if you
reminders.
get your clients in, like if you use Square, if you collect clients' contact information, you can put it into Square and you can text from Square. Anything else? What y'all got? I'm here for you, y'all.
Ben, I have a second question, another one, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
What percentage, I'm curious, what percentage of your work as in headshots is companies that have engaged you for all of their employees versus individuals who've just, I need a headshot because I'm a real estate agent, or just individuals who reach out to you versus a company. So I've got 25 lawyers here and I need all of them. And then do you go to them? Do they come to you? Or some combination, you mentioned they get new employees, maybe they come to the studio, but anyway, I want to hear about that.
Sure. So over the past year, I've picked up a couple new companies. Like that dynamic is shifting. In years prior to that, a majority of my business was one-offs. So people just coming in, I need something for LinkedIn and the website and whatever. That world is shifting, and that may be because of AI. Like the one-off headshot thing could be hurt, especially if you're a low dollar photographer. Like the $50 headshot photographers are going to get killed by AI. Easy peasy. They don't stand a chance. High end, I give service headshot photographers for people who actually give a shit. We're fine. We're going to be fine. But companies more and more don't want to deal with it. So in my case, there's been a lot of bad experiences with some big companies in town recently. So they are suffering from the buy it nice or buy it twice thing. So now they're going, okay, your rates are higher, but we're going to pay it. But now they're seeing the benefit from it. So I if I were to be restarting my headshot business today, I would be focused on getting big companies. That said, back to the repeat client thing. Yeah. So like just before Christmas, I had a new client as a law firm slash financial firm, 200 people. So over 2 days, I had 200 people to get through. My wife was thrilled because I didn't talk for 2 days afterwards. And so now we're set up with them. Now that the majority of the company has Ben Markham work, when they get new hires, they will just send them to me. So they're going to get the same quality. They don't, and the way I pitch it to them is, here's, I'm going to solve your problems, is you don't have to worry about, is the background going to be the same? You don't have to worry about, is the lighting going to be the same? Like you'll be able to slide this new person's photos into your marketing, and it's going to look like it's always been there.
Right.
So, and that's where they go, oh, that's a problem. You just solved the problem for me. So I make their life easy. So that's what I would be looking at. What does this say? Oh, it's saying this meeting is being transcribed. Neat. Um, so yeah, so that, but yeah, I'll with a bigger company, like if somebody just has like 5 people, I'll be like, no, just all y'all come to the studio. If I come to you, it's going to be more expensive because I have to break everything down, move it, set it up. Blah, blah, blah. If they're like, 6, 7, 8, 9 and plus, I'll go to them first, and then everything after that, unless they have a big group of people. Again, it's like, no, just send them to me. Makes your life easy.
May I ask a few things that might be a little more granular,
Absolutely.
that I've encountered. Um, First off, thank you for inspiring me to put my prices up on my homepage so that there's no shock and awe, as it were. Um, do you, when clients review their shots online, do you leave the watermark on?
Oh, do not review with them online. That you're leaving money on the table. Everything
Mm,
is done right here. So I shoot tethered,
okay.
and when we shoot the session, as soon as we finish, we're at the computer. We decide right here, right then. And I do it with both my headshots and my portrait and boudoir work, right? So people stress out about their photos. And if we send them home with a gallery, now they have all these options, and options cause stress. Stress and confusion causes people not to buy. So now they're going through it and they can't decide, and then they show, their wife or their husband, and then they show their mom, and then they post 20 of them on Facebook, and everybody gives them different opinions, and they go, ah. So we do it all here. So we finish a session, we go through, and you're gonna make your decisions here with me. You're gonna know that you got the images that you want before you left the studio. And because, especially like with headshots, now that I'm using Avado as the AI retoucher, I can have it to them before they get to their car 9/10 of the time. Like, now I don't do it that fast because I wanted to make it look like I'm doing something, but so it's, yeah, do all in-person sales. If you're not doing in person, you're leaving money on the table.
What about model releases? Is that automatic or um, that I found it kind of mm, I felt touchy-feely about it because I felt like almost like I was springing it on a client, even though intellectually I don't think it is.
No, so like model release is built into my contract. Um, at the end of the day, if a client doesn't want their stuff used, I'm not using their stuff. It's just not that important to me. I've got enough. I have a big enough portfolio out there that, it's like, well, damn, those shots are good. I'd love to use them, but you said no, so cool. Now, could I still technically do it? Yeah, I could. But I don't. Now, the only time I really enforce a model release now, and it's enforce is the wrong word, but if I'm shooting things for content and I can actually bring a model into the studio, so like sometimes I have to bring models in for boudoir stuff because a lot of my clients are like, hey, maybe don't post naked photos of me online. I'm like, hey, I understand. So I have to bring people in for that, and a model release is involved for that sort of thing, because I also like have a Patreon that some of those shots will end up. I never post client work on my Patreon, uh, but that way I'm covered. The only reason I use a Patreon for that is because I can actually, as we were discussing earlier, I can post unedited images and not get banned. So that's part of the reason I use model releases. But yeah, I build it into your contract if you use a contract, and talk to your clients. Like the guy that's going to come pick up this book here in a little bit, I'm going to ask him if I can use any of his photos because I don't have a lot of male boudoir clients. I'm hoping he says yes. But if he says no, he says no. We move forward.
So that raises another question for me, contracts. So there are some portrait photographers that don't do contracts and they just do a model release and with the option for the client to say yes or no on the form. And then other people do like a full-on contract, like, hey, I still own the copyright of this. You can't make money off of it. So you use a contract even for your headshots?
Oh yeah, especially for my headshots, in particular for my headshots. And the
Oh, really?
reason is because I spell out rights in those things. So, like, especially when we get into commercial rights, like I
Right.
like so I've had a couple lawyers, for example, who are like, I want to put my photos on billboards. I'm like, cool, that's commercial license. So if you want to use that commercially, you owe me this much money, and
Okay.
you know that's a really nice payday for no additional work. So
May I ask how much you charge for your commercial licenses,
not
or does it
nearly
depend?
enough. Not
Not
nearly
nearly.
enough.
No.
So like I'm buddies with Clay Cook, if anybody's familiar with Clay. If he heard this, he would probably walk over here and slap me about the head and face. Because I'm not a commercial photographer, I charge anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000 for a commercial license, like for billboards and stuff. Now, if somebody was going to be like, oh, it's going to be, you know, the front cover of my new novel or my new book or whatever, we're going to have a different pricing conversation. And I'm probably going to get lawyers involved. But for something like a billboard or whatever, I'm like, now Clay or a big commercial photographer is going to charge considerably more, and they know all of the industry is this, and this.
Right.
I'm a headshot photographer, man. I don't have time for all
Okay.
that. I just kind of set the price and went.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I do see here in the chat. How much do you charge?
Oh, that was me. I was
okay,
you already
cool.
answered all those.
Okay, cool.
And I wear kilts too, not right now, but it was just funny that when I saw you first on TikTok, I'm like, oh my gosh, another photographer that wears kilts. That's awesome.
So it inadvertently became branding. I started
It's
wearing kilts.
become that way for me too. I didn't expect it.
No, people remember the big beardy dude in the kilt.
They remember the kilt, it seems. When I wear jeans, they don't even know who I am. It's really weird.
We wore my family and I, going to the same restaurant I was talking about earlier. We went black tie to that restaurant the other day. I've never worn pants in that restaurant, but I went full tux. I've done the tux top with the kilt, but I actually wore pants this time. And all of the staff was like, "Who the hell are you?" I was like,
yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. All they see is the kilt.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'll let it do the work. I'm fine with it.
I think it's funny.
What else, y'all?
A funny story related to that, doesn't have anything to do with photography, but it's kind of a branding story. It's sort of a lesson to us all. About 20 years ago, I was at Hilton Head for the golf tournament, the professional golf tournament is down there. And y'all remember the late, great Payne Stewart, the golfer Payne Stewart, who famously always wore, for most of his career, wore what were those, knickers? Yeah, with the knee socks, and that was and the flat hat. That was his look. He was known for it far and wide. I saw him, of course, walk out of it. He was at this tournament. He left the players' location after he got done with his tournament in khakis and a golf shirt, just plain khakis. He walked right through the crowd. Nobody stopped him. Nobody asked for an autograph. Nobody had the faintest idea who he was. And he had just won the US Open.
That's amazing.
Because he wasn't wearing the knickers. He wasn't wearing the hat. It's just a thing. And they expect to see it. When they didn't see it, they didn't even know it was him.
Yeah, I may have to try that experiment the next time I'm like at PPA or WPPI, because I go walking.
Well, the beard and the hair might give you away. Yeah, you got a little bit of a different look too.
Well, and I'm an ogre, so that I stand out in that regard too. So, but no, I get noticed at conventions a fair amount, and I've been convinced it was the kilt doing the work. So, which I'm good with. I'm wildly introverted, so let it work. What else, y'all?
I just
Are there
want to say thank you.
associations you'd
I have to
recommend?
go, but I just want to say thank you for this, Ben. Thank you so much. Sorry, Barry, we started talking at the same time. Anyway, but thank you so much for this. It's awesome, and again, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Are there associations that you would recommend?
For like networking and such?
Well, either networking or I'm thinking like professional, like PPA, for example.
Wherever you're going to find value. I had a PPA membership for a couple of years. I didn't really use it for anything. So there's no real value in it for me in that regard. Now that's on me. I could have taken advantage of classes and stuff. So from that regard, I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
I think community is big. So like if there are photography communities, which is one of the reasons I want to grow the Facebook group, is it's lonely working alone, and when you have nobody else to bounce ideas off of and all of that, it's actually one of the things that I feel most from leaving my theater world. I was surrounded by other artists and we were creating together and in the trenches, and had somebody to pick you up when you had a crap day and somebody to buy you a beer when you had a really good one, right? So find community. I was a member of the Headshot, well, still am. I was not active of the Headshot crew forever, Peter Hurley's group. When I was active there, having that community was really important for me. Um, so in anything, like even if it's just like a good group of your friends and you guys get like a Slack chat going, as long as you're not like ruining all your productivity being in a Slack chat, just having that camaraderie. I've got a couple different ongoing like Facebook Messenger groups or text groups with folks where just every once in a while I'll be like, hell yeah, I had a big sale today, or whatever. It's like, so, or oh, I can't, I'm in my head, I can't think through this. Like those sorts of things are important. As for networking and stuff, it's where your clients, where are they going to be? I find some chamber of commerces to be very great. Like if they do like free get-togethers and whatever. I've done some Rotary stuff, and I'm considering actually becoming a Rotarian. Um, so because some of my professional clients will be
Mhm.
there, um, with the portrait and the boudoir side of things. It's anytime like the museum here is doing any sort of gathering, I'm probably there. Um, so any of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I'm involved with Toastmasters.
Oh, nice.
You're familiar with that.
Yeah. See, that
And
that's fantastic networking.
yeah,
Because it's just a bunch of you're all buddies.
yeah, and I have some people have approached me there. It's in all honesty, uh it's a delicate balance because you don't want to go there solely or so obviously ostentatiously selling yourself.
Correct. But in those moments, then when they go, oh, I need somebody, you're most likely top of mind. And
Yeah.
that's the key to it. I would rather be a part of organizations and groups or whatever where I'm everybody's friend than just go in and try to sell. It's because in the long run, it'll pay so many more dividends because they trust you at that point. So, and I'm sure everybody knows you're a photographer and what you do. So, no, that's the right way to do it. Like, don't need to sell in those situations.
Mhm. I also started working with there's a small business development center here in Albany. I just started working with them.
Nice. That's awesome. What else, y'all? Anybody got anything else? I'll take that as a no.
I got a lot of great notes and maybe a follow-up question or two, but these are great.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm planning on doing more of these this year. In thinking through my goals at the end of last year, I've been talking about doing education forever and keep psyching myself out about it. And so I was like, well, this year we're not psyching ourselves out. We're going. Worst case scenario, I may help a few people. So I'm going to do more of these. If there's other topics that you guys would like me to cover at some point, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I like doing this teachy sort of thing. And yeah, if you know other photographers who might benefit from my shenanigans, invite them along. So awesome, guys. Well, thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. If you're in the path of this snow and ice storm like I am, be safe and stock up on bread, milk, and bourbon now. And yeah, we'll see all y'all later on. Cheers, y'all.